Your Steve Jones Show podcast is loading now. The Steve Jones Show podcast is sponsored by Purdy Insurance. Visit Purdy Insurance on Market Street in Sunbury or visit online at purdyinsurance.com. Sports talk where your voice counts. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now, from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
And today's show brought to you by Purdy Insurance. Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. The pros. They will do everything they can to save you money. More importantly, make sure you're properly insured. Auto, home, life, business. Motorcycle, boat, RV, they can handle it all. They are the pros, and just really good people. Great staff there. All at Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. And we are in the Sunbury Motors Studio. Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. Play-by-play call of the day, the legendary Merrill Reese.
10, 9, 8. The Philadelphia Eagles have won the NFC Championship 4-3-2-1 by the final score. The Eagles 31, the 49ers 7. Attention, air traffic control. A flock of eagles is heading to Arizona.
Bingo! Very nice. Very nice. And it's on to Glendale, to the home of the Arizona Cardinals. Did a Fiesta Bowl in there once. Great stadium. Really nice. And that will be the matchup coming up. Now, between now and then, Matt will revel in all the fluff, and I'll look at players. Okay. So, whatever. Hey, by the way, one quick note before we move on. Bobby Hull passed away. The Golden Jet. Chicago Blackhawks in most of his NHL career. Winnipeg Jets in his WHA career. I actually saw him play once. The only time I ever saw him play in person, believe it or not, he was with the Hartford Whalers. Went to a Whalers game, and they put Gordie Howe and Bobby Hull in the same line. And Howe made this drop pass. I was in the end zone. And Howe made this drop pass to Hull that was just like completely unspoken. Drop, and Hull almost rifled it in. But he had over 600 goals in his career with the Blackhawks. Played with his brother Dennis for years. His son Brett, of course. Off the ice had a few problems. He was the first player to get the $1 million deal in hockey when he went to Winnipeg. He was not allowed to play in the Summit Series in '72 because he had gone to and had signed that contract with Winnipeg when they played the Soviet Union in that remarkable deal that took place a little bit more than 50 years ago. But yeah, he passed away at the age of, I want to say, 84. So how nervous are you right now?
For the game, I'm feeling very confident, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Eagles are a better team. I think this is give me more of a challenge. I'll say that. I would have preferred the Bengals. But
so when the Eagles beat Buffalo in Cincinnati and won at San Francisco, that probably did a lot for your confidence. Oh, wait, the Chiefs did that. I'm sorry. My apologies. I got the two teams mixed up. I was going with the team that played the better schedule.
That's great. But the Eagles still beat the best defense and ran all over them yesterday. Eagles' offensive line dominated for the most part yesterday. The run game got going when it had to. Jalen Hurts wasn't great. He needs to be better. I am with you there 100%. His throws were not good yesterday. He should have hit A.J. Brown especially.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just saying he was a little bit off. In other words, for a guy that has had premium, I mean, and in all seriousness, he's had premium accuracy all year. He has turned himself into, just through hard work, just a terrific quarterback. And his accuracy has just been something where I've watched all year. And I was like, man, look at this guy. He puts the ball where you need to. Yesterday, he didn't. It was just one of the, and the reason it stuck out is because it's something he had not been doing.
Right. Exactly right.
Drop the ball in the bucket, throw the ball in stride. Nobody has to break stride. Nobody has to go down and get a ball.
Yep.
Right. I mean, Jalen Hurts all season. Yesterday he didn't play like that. Yesterday, every once in a while you're just like a half click off. Jalen Hurts yesterday was a half click off. Did they dominate the 49ers defense? The only reason that they did anything against the 49ers defense, and you've got to be realistic about this, is that the 49ers had no offense. Every time the 49ers defense turned around, okay, we're going to run back out in the field. I mean, that plays. I mean, Jack and I talk about this all the time. You've got to do something on offense to give your defense a break.
No question.
All right. And so, I mean, I know it's adorable that you feel like you dominated the 49ers defense. You didn't. Okay? It's just, in the end, you just wore them down. And look, the one drive was all penalties. 3 big penalties. The other scoring drive should not have counted.
But those penalties were all good calls and were because they couldn't handle the one-on-one matchups no matter what the circumstances were. The Eagles just won their matchups and they forced calls. That was part of it. But I get it. When you lose your quarterback, and in the way that happened yesterday, I mean, human nature is, what do we got to do? And they were in that spot last year, So there's no question that played a big role. And obviously with their antics at the end of the game, that obviously boiled over. But
it played a big role in exhausting the 49ers defense because every time they turn around, they had to go back
physically and
onto the
mentally,
field.
No question.
I mean, it's like, okay, great. And you're looking at your offense and you're like going, we can't do anything here. I mean, and then on one note on Andy Reid, why did he challenge the Tony catch?
That I did not understand at all. That was a clear and complete pass. That was even clearer than what happened with Devontae Smith.
But here's the difference, okay? Kadarius Toney got up like, okay, I didn't catch it. He got up and was like, I didn't catch the thing.
Yeah.
When your receiver gets up, it's like, oh, well. And it's not like going, I got it. It's like, Devontae Smith was the opposite. Everybody huddle up, let's go. I didn't catch it. But Kadarius Toney got up like, darn it. I'm like, why are you challenging it? Your own guy doesn't even think he caught it.
Yeah, I didn't get that one. That was definitely a big one.
Well, it just kind of hangs over the rest of the game because you've only got one challenge left. And you can't keep the challenge. I sat back and went, okay, I wouldn't do that. That was a little bizarre. Oh, well.
But bottom line is, the Eagles are better up front, both sides of the ball, than the Chiefs, and I think that's going to be the difference in the game.
I think the difference in the game will be takeaways. I think that'll be the difference in the game, which team can generate takeaways. You look at yesterday's game. What was the biggest single moment of the game?
And we talking Chiefs-Bengals?
No, I'm talking about 49ers and Eagles.
Well, it was turnovers and mistakes. Yeah. Eagles didn't turn the ball over, and they got one from the fumble by Purdy.
No, they got 2.
Oh, and then at the end, right.
At the end of what? End of the first half. The ball hit John in the face mask. The Eagles scored a touchdown on that.
Yeah. Right, it was 2-0. in turnovers. And the Chiefs did turn it over yesterday. Didn't and that hurt them because it tied the game.
Yeah, because Mahomes tried to throw that ball and it just went out of his hands, and then the Bengals turned it over too.
Yes, they did. Yeah,
there was an interception that the Chiefs did not score on, by the way, and then the interception downfield that they picked off. Where Burrow made a clear mistake. He just threw into a double. You're like going, geez, what's he doing that for? That made no sense.
But concerns of mine definitely is Travis Kelce. How do the Eagles handle him? How do they handle down the middle again? Because the Chiefs like to can burn you down the middle. And honestly, if you're asking me between Andy Reid and Jonathan Gannon, who I like better as far as who's going to put their players in a best spot, give me Andy Reid all day. Now, Jonathan Gannon's done a good job. I'm not trying to throw him off the bus here, but let's face it, Gannon's had his moments this year, even in a 14-3 season. I think Andy Reid can outcoach Jonathan Gannon. So that does worry me a little bit. And then Chris Jones, where if they match up him a lot and try to exploit Lane Johnson because he struggled with Nick Bosa, that might be another concern. But but
they don't usually line up Chris Jones. They lined up Chris Jones. It was interesting because I'm watching the game yesterday, and I said they got to take Jones. I told a friend of mine, I said they got to take Jones. I said in this series, and for the first time today, flip him outside just to give Cincinnati a different look. And doggone it, the next play they flipped him outside, and he got a sack. All right. For the most part, Jones plays inside. Right. Remember last year they tried to play him outside as often as they could because they got guys hurt, and he wasn't as productive out there. But as an inside player, he is probably the second best inside pass rusher in the NFL after Aaron Donald. And I think he's got the numbers to back it up. I think he's 60-some-odd sacks in his career, and that's second only to Donald.
Yeah, and 16, I think, this year? 15, 16 this year? Had 2 yesterday?
Did he have 16 this year? I mean, God,
I know he was third behind. I know it was Bosa, Reddick, and then Jones as far as the sacks were concerned. I think he had 15. This is at the end of the regular season. Bosa had, 17, 18 and a half. Reddick had 16, and I think Jones had 15.
Okay.
And then Jones had 2 yesterday.
I will believe you on that. Just for the heck of it. Yeah, he had 15 and a half this year. You're right on. He had 9 last year. It's the second time in his career he's had 15 and a half. But he's this. I mean, among guys that play inside, he probably is this. I mean, it's not bad being number 2 to somebody like Aaron Donald. I mean, he is a heck of a player. I mean, once in a while they'll flip him outside. Once in a while. I think Gannon's done a good job with the Eagles. It really helps when you got Bradbury and Slay, because what happens is you don't have to then be exotic in what you're doing. When you have 2 guys that can lock down in the corners, you now have the ability to do anything you want with the other 9 chess pieces. And let's face it, Kansas City does not have. I mean, without Tyreek Hill, they don't have that, and I don't think they had any choice with Hill. They had to deal him because of the money part of it. I mean, they don't have that kind of guy.
Nope.
Maybe Tony can be, but I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster's a possession guy. Kelsey is special. Valdez-Scantling's not bad. I mean, he was good with Green Bay, and he's done a very good job with Kansas City. He's a good player. He's going to be somebody you're going to have to watch.
He had a tremendous catch to first take the lead in the fourth quarter.
I mean, but he's just a good. He's always been a good receiver. Not awesome and incredible, but he's been very, very good. He's not in the same category as Smith and Brown. Smith and Brown are better. There's no getting around it. They have, but that's always love. They've got better receivers than they do. Irrelevant. You want to know why? Let's see if you can get this answer right.
Because they have Mahomes.
No,
Mahomes makes them better.
Who's better, Hurts or Mahomes?
I'll give it to Mahomes.
Does it matter? I'm surprised at you.
What, did I put Mahomes over Hurts?
No, that had nothing to do with that. You could pick either one. Doesn't matter. If you picked Hurts, it'd be fine. Doesn't matter to me. It's a personal opinion. Why does it matter? It doesn't matter that the Eagles have better receivers than the Chiefs.
Well, I mean, the Chiefs have Travis Kelce. That opens everything up.
No. They don't play against each other. Come on. It doesn't matter if they're better. They're not. They're like Valdez Scantling is not covering Brown. It's like it doesn't matter. Come on. It's about the matchups. Who matches up against whom? You know, I mean, can Wiley do a good enough job on Reddick? I mean, let's be honest. Yesterday, you know who was not present at yesterday's game was Hendrickson. Hendrickson's a really good pass rusher, and he did not have a big game yesterday. Hubbard was okay for the most part. The Kansas City offensive line, for the most part, actually did a pretty good job. I mean, they knew that we have to protect the franchise. Hubbard and Hendrickson, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch up front. For the most part, I felt like Kansas City neutralized them.
Yeah, I agree. I thought they had a really good game yesterday. I thought Cincinnati's defensive line would have been a lot more disruptive than they were.
The key for Cincinnati defensively in their run has been that their defensive front, they've been able to get away with 4 and not have to blitz. And Lou Anarumo, he is a really good defensive coordinator. In fact, he's actually got a couple of interviews now.
Good, he should.
But he has a great attitude about it. I guess he said to his wife, he says, hey, look. He says, if it doesn't work out, I don't get a head coaching job. He says, I'm stuck with Joe Burrow on my team next year. He says, I feel pretty good.
There you go.
So he told his wife. I said, I read that. I thought, you know what? That's a pretty good attitude to have. That's like Gannon not getting an interview for somebody, and he looks around and says, you know what? If this doesn't work, I got Jalen Hurts on my team. I feel good.
He actually said to Fox 29 Philly yesterday that the fans are. He was funny. He said the fans are stuck with me because I'm not going anywhere. Because he was in on the Texans job and looks like that's going to go to DeMeco Ryans because he's the front runner, and the Colts are going a couple other different directions yet. So
the Colts may go with Jeff Saturday.
I know.
I'm not kidding about that.
I know. I can't say I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised at this. But I am surprised still because of the candidates that are out there.
Wow. The guy I feel badly for is Steve Wilkes. You know what? He did a heck of a job down in Carolina. Because remember, I mean, Carolina dealt away Christian McCaffrey. So
yeah, and they still had a fighting chance for the NFC South.
Exactly.
How bad it was.
This guy did a heck of a job. He interviewed for. They ended up going with Frank Reich. Okay, I got it. But that guy did a heck of a job down there. It's like, if you're in Indianapolis, why not interview him? But like, I watched Jeff Saturday coach. No offense. Last I looked, they were 1-7. Oh, and by the way, they blew a 33-0 lead.
Correct. I do like Pacheco a lot, by the way. I think he's a terrific story.
Pacheco's a good, tough, hard runner.
Yeah.
That's the way he ran at Rutgers. I mean, every time Penn State played Rutgers, he was always the guy that Jack and I zeroed in on, that you've got to somehow neutralize him. Because I just think he's a good. I mean, there's certain guys that are like great athletes playing a spot, and there are other people that are just really good football players. Pacheco's a good football player. Then they get a good change up. They bring in McKinnon. And I've always liked McKinnon. I liked McKinnon when he was with the Vikings, as a matter of fact. He's not a prime time, like, I'm going to get the ball 25 times in the game. But you know what? Between those two guys, they can change up. Ronald Jones doesn't really help them a lot. I didn't quite get why he was in the game at certain points. There's certain things about today's league I don't quite understand. Like, I'm not quite on board with. I'll look over, it'll be a key series in the game, and Nick Bosa's on the sideline. Why? Like, really? Now? Who the heck was it yesterday? I'm looking over. It was in the Kansas City game. I'm thinking, like, why is he on the sideline? You're trying to get to the Super Bowl. Why is he on the sideline? Sports science goes to a point. Okay? There is a point at some point in sports science where you got to look over and go, you know what? We're trying to get to the Super Bowl. Give me 2 more plays. Just keep thinking to myself, would Alan Page take the playoff? No. Would Lawrence Taylor get out of the game? I need a break here. Lawrence Taylor wouldn't do that. Reggie White wouldn't do that. Come on. Would Reggie White do that? Would Jerome Brown do that? No, and no. I don't know. Some days I wonder. All right, we'll take a break. Come back. More in a moment. That may have been the get off my lawn moment. Yeah, and you know what's really bad about the weekend when it comes to officiating? You know what's really bad about all this? What's the biggest story on an officiating call the entire weekend? LeBron being fouled going to the bucket at the end.
Yes. Yeah, right, Lakers Celtics. Yeah.
Look, and is he fouled? Yes, he's fouled. I got it. But they're 23 and 27. Come on. Okay. That franchise gets more publicity it doesn't deserve than any franchise I've ever seen in my life.
It is nauseating, yes.
It really is. Goodness sakes. Like, they get talked about every day. So for goodness sakes, look at this team in Philadelphia. Why don't you talk about them every single day? The Eagles have been the best story in the NFL the entire doggone season. Talk about them on your show every day.
Or how about sticking in the NBA, talk about Joel Embiid showing up Jokic. And the Sixers comeback win against the Nuggets.
Right,
you want to stay in the NBA.
Right, that's fine. That's at home. That's a home game. And the Sixers have been playing really well. Really well. No question. I think they get another shot out at Denver, right? I think they had to go back out there, right?
Correct. I believe that's correct, yeah.
Yeah. So. But that's, nobody talks about that stuff. It's all about he got fouled. Okay, I got it. You did get fouled. Okay. I understand. And instead of being 24 and 26, you're 23 and 27. I got it. What is... Okay, he's about to break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring record, which is a tremendous feat, right? You want to know what else is a tremendous feat that hardly anybody is talking about? Michaela Schifrin has won 85 World Cup events. But because it's happening in Europe and it's not LeBron James, nobody knows about it. They're both equally remarkable.
That's ESPN and Fox Sports for you.
But it just, he has the ability, it's partially his fault and partially not, but he has the ability to suck all the oxygen out of the room.
When car repairs get difficult.
Well, I just don't know.
Me neither.
We get good. Sunbury Motors. More than quality new and used cars, Sunbury Motors specializes in complicated auto repair diagnosis. They can handle intricate repairs and even complete auto body with service open Monday through Friday, 7 till 4. And Sunbury Motors has made simple repairs easy. Maintaining your vehicle is necessary. Finding the time to do it is difficult. Welcome to Sunbury Motors Quick Lane. Open 7 till 4, Monday through Friday. Just walk in or call ahead. Relax in their remodeled waiting room with Wi-Fi, beverages, and snacks. While Sunbury Motors factory trained techs take care of your oil change, tire alignments, brakes, and inspections. Quick Lane, 6:30 to 6, Monday through Friday. Saturday, 6:30 till 2. Sunbury Motors, Ford and Hyundai, North 4th Street, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. We take the out of auto repair.
Sports talk where your voice counts. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Today, brought to you by Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Auto, home, life, business, RV, motorcycle, boats. I believe the suit has his yacht insured by Purdy. I asked him where he put his yacht.
F-O-U-L-E-D, that spells found up.
I said, "Where do you dock your yacht?" And he said something about a creek. He scares me. Okay, but Purdy Insurance, they take care of everything. They will make sure you're fully insured, and not only that, they'll do everything they can to save you money. It's all at Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Glen Macnow now joins us from Philadelphia, where I'm sure some of the staffers just got into work now. Glenn, welcome. Great to have you with us. The city must be euphoric after yesterday's walkover.
City is feeling great. Everybody here really has believed in this team since the start of the year. They've shown themselves all year to be, well, the best team in the NFC, that's for sure. And yesterday was certainly much less of a sweat, I think, than most people thought it was going to be. And it was a great night in the city. Everybody did celebrate late into or early into the morning, I guess we'd say.
Yeah, I would say so. How interesting was it to watch? Again, I know you're trying to cover the Eagles, and the Eagles are the better team, so this is not about that. But to watch a team essentially be without a quarterback for almost 3 quarters, how different was that on an NFL level to watch?
It was really odd because when Josh Johnson came in, they didn't want him to throw, and then he gets hurt, and they're trying to figure out what to do, and they have McCaffrey line up in the Wildcat, and they're running all kinds of weird plays with Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, and they're pulling basically every play they have out of the back of the playbook, none of which worked. So it was interesting to watch from kind of a weird analytical, this is strange point of view. But also it was interesting to watch the Niners really self-destruct. Listen, the Eagles won that game, but just as much as that, the Niners lost. If I was a Niners fan or somebody covering the sport out there, I would be furious with what my team did yesterday.
I'd be furious with my coach for not challenging the Smith catch.
That's number one, right? I mean, that was early in the game. You had all your timeouts. Yeah. If you lose the challenge, okay, you lose a timeout in the first half. That's not so critical. It was clear as soon as the play ends, as Devontae Smith runs and implores his teammates to get up, let's do this, that he knew he didn't catch it, so it was incumbent on Mike Shanahan to challenge, and he didn't, and that was a huge moment. And again, it was 4th down play.
Yeah, I mean, they would have had the ball out near midfield, for goodness sakes.
Absolutely.
And by the way, it is a great call by the Eagles. I mean, I'm talking about just a pure call. Right, here's 4th down. Everybody's thinking you're just trying to get the first down. The pure call is tremendous.
They've been gutsy like that all year. Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator, and Nick Sirianni, they go for it on 4th. I mean, they go for it on 4th and 4. They will try a pass on 4th down. Nick Sirianni, Doug Peterson was a ballsy coach, and Nick Sirianni is that times 2.
Yeah. I mean, no question. But there was also another element to that play that I think was emblematic of the game. I think they got away with the game yesterday. I know he didn't fumble it and he didn't intercept it, but I think the Eagles got away with the game yesterday. And this can happen to one of the best in the business. But Jalen Hurts was not on his game yesterday. No. And I think for the Eagles, that's going to be great that they did that on the finally they got a day where he wasn't quite right.
I agree. He wasn't particularly sharp. He wasn't particularly accurate. There was one that he threw where he had A.J. Brown and he missed him.
Yes.
Yeah, that was one. I think he was a little bit tentative when he ran. He ran a little bit more in the third quarter when the game was still kind of a contest, and that was good to see. But he was a little tentative. But as you said, and this is really one of the reasons why the Eagles are now, 16-3, is he doesn't make costly mistakes. Yeah, he misses a receiver, but no fumbles, no interceptions. He got sacked once for 0 yards. That's the stuff that loses you games, right? That's what lost it for San Francisco was the Purdy fumble and Josh Johnson, and that's how you lose games. He didn't do that.
I thought the best player in the field, and I think the best player in the field I saw in both games was Hassan Reddick. What has his acquisition meant to how Jonathan Gannon wants to play defense?
Yeah, the pride of Temple U. Well, he's everything, right? He was clearly the MVP of that game yesterday. And you're right, against the Giants, he was just as unstoppable. And he was, I think, second in the league or third in the league during the season in sacks. It's great because Jonathan Gannon doesn't like to blitz, something that will occasionally drive Philadelphia fans crazy. This is a town that, remembers Bud Carson and Buddy Ryan and Jim Johnson and likes an aggressive defense. He doesn't do that. And what Hassan Reddick allows him to do, and not just Reddick, by the way, because, listen, they had 4 guys in double-figure sacks, 4 defensive linemen, is it allows him to rush 4. Because Hassan Reddick's going to get to the quarterback, or maybe it's going to be Josh Sweat, or maybe it's going to be Javon Hargrave, and or Brandon Graham, the old man. And doing that allows you. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? You don't have to rush 6 to get to the quarterback. You're in great shape.
Well, what's interesting about him not blitzing is he's got Slay and Bradbury out there. Defensive coordinators ache to have 2 shutdown guys like that because then you can do whatever you want with the other 9 chess pieces.
Right. So how do you beat the Eagles, right? Because you got to get rid of the ball fast because those linemen are coming in. Your receivers are probably pretty well covered. The Eagles' vulnerability this year, to the extent that the defense has had a vulnerability, is there are some teams that have run on them well. The games they lost at Washington, the New Orleans game that they lost, were because the other team was able to run on them. Yesterday, other than that one that McCaffrey broke, and boy, that was a great run. Other than that, they really weren't able to get anything going in the running game. And, listen, that's why it was easy for the Eagles.
Yeah, it was definitely easy for them yesterday, especially, look, let's face it, the other guy can't throw.
Yeah,
when you watch from the box,
they'll put up 31.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you watch from the box, the question is actually about the defensive part of it. They had to be putting 8 in the box, if not 9.
Yeah, well, pretty much. Sure. So you focus on the run and you focus on McCaffrey, and listen, that guy was still great and still able to bust some. But other than him, they got nothing. They got I think 3 catches for 30 yards from Kittle, who's a great receiver. Brandon Ayuk caught 1 pass all game. Yeah. Deebo Samuel was a non-factor. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that played to the Eagles' benefit.
It made no question it played to their benefit. And not only that, they get the takeaways. The big play by Reddick that knocked Purdy out of the game, and then the ball that went off Josh Johnson's face mask right at the end of the half. Boom! Like you get handed one. That was huge.
Yeah, that helped put the game away. Right, you get that score going into the half. That puts the game away.
Yeah, I thought Miles Sanders ran the ball beautifully yesterday. But I want to go to Gainwell. I'll be honest with you, Glenn. I did Gainwell's last game in college because I did the Cotton Bowl game.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, and so I watched some tape going in. I'm like, okay. And against Penn State, he didn't play well. And I was like, okay, he's a better pro than I thought he'd be, Glenn. I'll admit that. He's a better pro than I thought he would be.
It's taken a while. It's a funny thing, because if you and I had this conversation a month ago, I would have said, he was a fifth-round pick for a reason, and he's a bit of a disappointment, and he was used very spotty. He really didn't have a very good season through most of the year. He came on the last game of the year against the Giants, the last regular season game of the year against the Giants, the playoff game against the Giants. He had 100 yards for the first time in his career. And then yesterday, he was really good running and catching the ball. I'm not sure what's gotten into Kenny Gainwell in the last 3 games, but I think it's what the Eagles have been looking forward to all along. And, with him, with Sanders, and with Boston Scott, the little 5'6" change of pace guy, that's really nice depth. That's depth and versatility at that position.
You see, and that, I think one of the job that a coach has is, how do I put my players in their best position to succeed? And I feel with Gainwell down the stretch, they've done that, Glenn.
Yeah, they found it. What they have found with him is ways to get him a little room, right? And he benefits because he comes on the field, and even, let's say they take off the other running back. So even if he's the only running back in the field, well, A.J. Brown's out there, Devontae Smith's out there, Goddard's out there. They got to keep an eye on Hurts himself. And you can't cover everybody. You can't double cover everybody, certainly. And so they have found ways to kind of sneak Gainwell in where he's got a little space. And when he's got space, he's dangerous.
It's a matchup of 2 number 1 seeds, Glenn. The Eagles have looked, let's face it, they have looked like the better team than anybody all season long. That if there's one oddity to this, you feel like the Chiefs have played the better schedule to get to the same record. So how do you view this game, just at least initial feel?
I think it has a chance to be a great Super Bowl because I don't think either team can run away with it. Patrick Mahomes' ankle is maybe an issue. I don't know. He looked pretty good yesterday, but there were times he was a little gimpy. We'll see how he is in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Both teams are really well coached. I mean, I know the Andy against Philadelphia issue is going to be banged home 5,000 times over the next few weeks, but I think it's a 3-point game.
Yeah, I do too.
Both of these teams are too good, and I think too tough to cave. So I hope. Listen, I hope the Eagles win by 40, but. Sure. My other hope, if that doesn't happen, is that we have the real shot at one of the great Super Bowls of all time, because these are 2 teams that are there on merit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. You're going out, I'm going to assume.
I am not this time.
You're not?
I am not. No, we're not. We're sending a few, but I don't think I'm going, which is that's okay.
It's not okay.
I've been to, I guess a half a dozen Super Bowls, and it's not like covering any other game because the access is terrible. I don't want to complain.
Sure.
The next thing I'm going to say is going to make me sound stupid, so I'm not going to say it. But I don't think I'm going this year, and that's okay. My living room is a great place to watch with my friends.
Let me put it this way: Seattle, Denver. I was part of covering that. It's you're right. It's unlike covering anything else. You just kind of look around and go, okay, I'll do the best I can with this. But
I'm one of 10,000 people here, and the most access I'll have to somebody is they're at a podium, and I'm one of 500 people asking questions. So it's a really fun experience to be to a Super Bowl, and I don't want to belittle that at all.
Right.
I got some really close friends and family with whom, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl and I get to share that moment with them, as opposed to sitting next to some guy from Denver or New York or Tokyo, it'll be very meaningful to me.
Who knows everything about the game, and you have to listen to it.
Right. You know what? I'd rather listen to my nephew who knows a good amount about the game, and he'll pour me a beer when I need it.
Perfect. I see. Life works out just right. Plus, you get to share it with us.
Yeah, there you go. My pleasure.
Hey, Glenn, thanks so much. Appreciate you very much. And since you're going to be around, maybe we'll steal you next week.
It would be my pleasure. Anytime you need me.
Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate it.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
We should send you out, Matt. This would be great. You could bring the kids with you.
I would love to go out, but actually, believe it or not, Lisa's cousin's getting married the day before in the Ebensburg area. And it's funny enough, it would have been perfect because my sister-in-law lives just outside Phoenix. So it would have been perfect, but she's in the wedding, so she's flying out here. Maybe during the week it'd be great, but as far as day of the game, I'm going to make it with probably about an hour and a half to spare before kickoff. We got our plan set. We're leaving.
Isn't the wedding set for a Saturday?
The wedding's the day before. We have to sleep over that night. So we're gonna leave after lunch Sunday afternoon. They'll get us back to the house by sometime between 4 and 5. My parents will be there waiting for us with food.
Wait, what are you taking, a wagon train?
No, we're gonna be. Well, her parents live in Indiana, so we're gonna be staying at their house, Indiana, PA. That is. So it's another.
Okay.
So it's like another.
So it's 3 hours.
Yeah. So we'll be back between 4 and 5.
So you leave at noon. You'll be back by 3.
Or we're leaving after lunch, so that means if we leave by 1, we'd be back by about 4.
I'd leave at 12:15.
Hey, if it were up to me, we would do that.
This is her family?
This is her family, yes.
They look at calendars? No, I'm asking.
This is also, they also had the wedding shower for her cousin the day after Christmas, so this is all you need to know.
Day after Christmas.
Day after Christmas wedding shower, day before the Super Bowl wedding.
Wow. I mean, I've got a game the day before at Maryland, but, I'll do the game at noon and then drive back, but. I've actually done games on Super Bowl Sunday on the road. Where, you're flying back, and it wasn't a noon game.
Oh, no.
Oh, what? After a while, look. If I can, now this time I have no issue. I mean, I'm going to be comfortable in my own home watching the game. So. And I'll have a good time with it. And we'll make our big Super Bowl pick at the end of next week.
That's correct. Yeah. I think we're going to go and start up our hoops picks this week, college hoops picks this week. And then we'll go back and do our usual picks and everything else.
Yeah, this is double road week. I got to fly to Lafayette tomorrow and then do the game on Wednesday and then fly to Lincoln on Saturday and do the game Sunday and come back. So. It's no split between home and away this week. So, all right, we'll take a break. We'll wrap it up in a moment on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
It's 2023, and while a lot has changed, one thing you can count on is the service at Purdy Insurance. Hi, this is Season. At Purdy Insurance, we provide you the highest level of service and coverage to protect you, your family, and your business. Make it your New Year's resolution to call us for a quote today at 570-286-5855. Go to our website at purdyinsurance.com or stop at our office at 136 Market Street in Sunbury to see what Purdy Insurance can do for you.
Eagles are in the Super Bowl. Joy reigns. Building's still standing. And Matt's mad at me that I'm talking about matchups and not ooey-gooey stuff.
I'm fine talking matchups, but I like to mix in some of the fun stuff, too.
What's fun about the fact that Andy used to coach the Eagles? He doesn't coach there anymore.
Maybe it's just me because I'm an Eagles fan, but maybe it's not as much with the rest of the NFL world. It could very well be that.
You ended up with a decent coach. I mean, he's got a little ways to go on a couple things, but... you did all right.
Minus Chip Kelly, yes.
No, I'm talking about Nick, though.
Well, yeah, right now, yes. Agreed.
He matches his team really, really well. Yeah, better than Andy would.